a continued conscious existence after physical death? From a physicalist or materialist standpoint, the answer is a given. The only thing that possesses metaphysically independent existence is the physical. That is, the existence of consciousness is dependent on the existence of the physical, the neural system, the brain. And consequently, consciousness ceases to exist when the brain no longer functions, as is the case after physical death. If physicalism or materialism is not taken as a fixed premise, however, the answer to the question is more open. Research has been done on reported conscious experiences during clinical death, so-called near-death experiences. And this research points toward the conclusion that such continued conscious existence might indeed be the case. Given the subjective nature of experience, claims of such experiences are generally difficult to verify. However, in a few cases, verification seems to have been possible. One such, very interesting, case is the AWARE study, published in 2014. In this video, I'll present this study and its main results, and briefly discuss its metaphysical and existential implications. The study was performed from 2008 to 2012 on 15 hospitals, primarily in the US and the UK. The results were published in the peer-reviewed medical journal Resuscitation in 2014. The study concerns the phenomenon in which cardiac arrest patients have reported auditory and visual experiences perceived as representing actual events occurring around them, including specific details relating to events that were occurring during resuscitation. Such recollections and perceptions, it has been proposed, are likely illusory, and that is what the study is intended to investigate. Specifically, the aims of the study are listed as follows. 1. To examine the incidence of awareness and the broad range of mental experiences during resuscitation. And 2. To investigate the feasibility of establishing a novel methodology to test the accuracy of reports of visual and auditory perception and awareness during cardiac arrest. To test the illusion hypothesis, each hospital installed between 50 and 100 shelves in areas where cardiac arrest resuscitation was deemed likely to occur. Each shelf had on it one image, only visible from a position above the shelf. Visual awareness claims described in prior accounts of near-death experience include the perception of being able to observe one's own cardiac arrest resuscitation from a vantage point above. So, should a large proportion of patients describe visual awareness combined with the perception of being able to observe events from a vantage point above the shelves, this could be used to potentially test the validity of such claims, as the images were visible only if one was looking down from the ceiling. Considering those perceptions might be occurring after brain function has returned following resuscitation, a different image, a triangle, was also installed on the underside of each shelf to test the possibility that patients could have looked upwards after cardiac arrest recovery or had their eyes open during cardiac arrest. Patients were asked questions about their memories of being in cardiac arrest using a 3-stage interview process. Of a total of 2,060 cardiac arrest patients, a large number did not survive or were too ill or too fatigued to be interviewed. A total of 101 patients were able to complete both the initial stage 1 interview and the more in-depth stage 2 interview. 46% had no recall awareness or memories from the time they were unconscious. The stage 2 interview was conducted using scripted open-ended questions designed to cover, among other things, the range of experiences covered on the Greyson near-death experience scale, a measure of the depth of core near-death experiences. Such experiences often include a feeling of peace or pleasantness, a feeling of separation from one's body, and sometimes an experience of entering some other unearthly world and perhaps encountering a mystical being or presence. 9 of the 101 patients had experiences that were compatible with near-death experiences. This is consistent with reports from prior studies, approximately 10%. Of those patients, 2 experienced specific auditory and visual awareness. Despite the installation of approximately 1,000 shelves across the participating hospitals, only 22% of cardiac arrest events actually took place in the critical and acute medical wards where the shelves had been installed. And consequently, 78% of cardiac arrest events took place in rooms without a shelf. As the cardiac arrest events of the 2 patients with specific auditory and visual awareness occurred in areas without shelves, further analysis of the accuracy of visual awareness based on the ability to visualize the images on top of or under the shelf was not possible. 1 patient was unable to do the stage 3 in-depth interview due to ill health. The other, a 57-year-old man, described an experience that is quite interesting in the current context of examining the question of the nature of reality. Among other things, he described a specific verbal command from an AED, an automated external defibrillator. He also described finding himself at the ceiling, looking down at his body, a nurse, and another man. He described the man as having a bald head and being quite a chunky fella. He had blue scrubs on and he had a blue hat, but the patient could tell that he didn't have any hair because of where the hat was. The next day, the patient recognized the man as he came to visit the patient. Medical record review afterward confirmed the members of the medical team present during the cardiac arrest and the role the identified man played in responding to the cardiac arrest. Based on the AED algorithms, his descriptions likely corresponded with up to 3 minutes of conscious awareness during cardiac arrest and CPR. The AWARE study was the first large-scale study to investigate the frequency of awareness experiences during cardiac arrest, while attempting to correlate patients' claims of visual awareness with events that occurred during cardiac arrest. As only 2% explicitly recall visual awareness, the effectiveness of using images to objectively test the validity of visual awareness claims was limited. However, the verified case of visual awareness suggests conscious awareness may occur beyond the first 20 to 30 seconds after a cardiac arrest. That is, beyond the point when the brain has reached a flatlined isoelectric state, meaning no measurable brain function, even loss of brainstem function. Thus, it is noted in the paper presenting the results of the study, within a model that assumes a causative relationship between cortical activity and consciousness, the occurrence of mental processes and the ability to accurately describe events during cardiac arrest, as occurred in the verified case of visual awareness, when cerebral function is ordinarily absent or speech severely impaired, is perplexing. This is particularly the case as reductions in cerebral blood flow typically lead to delirium followed by coma rather than an accurate and lucid mental state. That is, if consciousness is understood as being a product of processes in the brain, awareness experience should be impossible when there's no brain activity. But in this case, there seems to be verified experience at the time the brain was shut down. The paper then briefly discusses the primary suggestions that have been presented to explain such out-of-body experiences. They have been categorized as optical illusions and autoscopy as simply visual hallucinations of an image of one's body, but this study suggests that visual awareness and veridical perception during cardiac arrest are dissimilar from autoscopy, since patients did not describe seeing their own double, the paper states. Also, as hallucinations refer to experiences that do not correspond with objective reality, the findings do not suggest, the paper argues, that visual awareness in cardiac arrest is likely to be hallucinatory or illusory, since the recollections corresponded with actual verified events. The results of the study also point to a problem with categorizing experiences during cardiac arrest as hallucinatory, the paper argues, namely that the reality of human experience is not determined neurologically but socially. The paper reads, although alterations in specific neuromodulators involved with everyday real experiences can also lead to illusions or hallucinations, this does not prove or disprove the reality of any specific experience, whether it be love, near-death experiences, or otherwise. The paper notes that as most patients' experiences cannot be accurately categorized as near-death experiences, the term near-death experience, while commonly used, may be insufficient to describe the experience that is associated with the biological processes of death after circulatory standstill. And thus future research should focus on the mental state of cardiac arrest. It also notes a number of limitations on the study. Some patients might have had difficulties understanding the question of whether they had any memories of experiences occurring during cardiac arrest. There's also the limited number of patients with explicit recall of cardiac arrest events whose memories could have been further analyzed. The time to interview was not exactly the same for every patient. And of course, 78% of cardiac arrest events took place in areas without the test shells. A larger study would be warranted to further explore the relationship between visual awareness and variables such as age, gender, time to interview, physiological conditions, and more. Okay, so even if the study was specifically aimed at investigating the incidence of awareness and mental experiences during resuscitation and cardiac arrest, it is of significant interest when it comes to the question of the nature of reality and its existential implications. The study used rigorous research methodology. Thus, the scientific quality of the study must be assessed to be quite high, meeting the strict standards of proper scientific research. This is further supported by the study being published in a peer-reviewed medical journal, Resuscitation, the official journal of the European Resuscitation Council, despite its controversial subject matter and results. The debate on explaining near-death experiences is not concluded. Several explanations have been presented, but they all lack in some respects. This debate is beyond the scope of this video, but it is the case that, at least for now, there's no satisfactory physiological explanatory model. One of the main problems for such models is precisely to explain cases of verified visual awareness during brain shutdown, like the one in the AWARE study. One possible speculative explanation is that near-death experiences are created by the brain reawakening and trying to explain what happened to it, and that those cases where the alleged experiences match what really happened represent coincidences. In a very small but non-zero number of cases, we might suppose, it could be argued, that this explanation corresponds well with what actually happened. The probability of this happening does seem rather low, though. Should it be the case that actual experience is occurring at the same time that there is no brain activity, or at least no brain activity in the areas of the brain where consciousness and memory are based? The AWARE study suggests that this might be the case. That would indicate that consciousness perhaps can exist independent of the brain. From a metaphysical perspective, this is incompatible with physicalism or metaphysical materialism in general. It points instead towards substance dualism, according to which the physical and the mental exist independently, or metaphysical idealism, which claims that consciousness is more fundamental than the physical. That is, that the physical world does not exist in itself. That would have significant existential implications. The perspective on one's existence widens dramatically. No longer is it a matter of a single lifetime and then everything ends. Instead, existence continues. What such an existence might consist of is a complicated question. Perhaps some kind of reincarnation principle is involved. This will not be pursued further. But it doesn't seem unlikely that certain things often related to success in life, including materialistic aspects such as career, wealth, social status, etc., might be of less importance than is often assumed. Other things that perhaps can be carried over should existence continue after physical death, such as ethical attitudes and insight and wisdom, might be much more important. Indeed, that would be consistent with the reported content of near-death experiences. Okay, to sum up, the AWARE study presents the very interesting finding of a person who reported to have had certain experiences while his brain was not functioning. And these experiences align with what actually happened. He had verifiable experiences, it seems, while his brain was not functioning. If this case and other reported near-death experiences do in fact represent occasions on which consciousness operated without brain function, then these experiences pose a significant challenge to a physicalist and materialist understanding of reality. Of course, further research is required, but This case is in itself an intriguing argument against these positions. Instead, it is consistent with substance dualism and metaphysical idealism. And it opens the possibility that there is a continued existence after physical death. Not as religious claim, but perhaps as a natural phenomenon. And should that be the case, that there actually is continued existence after death, the existential implications are significant. Indeed, just the possibility that it might be the case leads to important existential reflections, not least regarding what is important in life, even on the meaning of life itself, perhaps. Thanks.